So recently I've been thinking about how I feel like there is no better time to be alive or like best time to be alive, because I spend so much of my time thinking that maybe if I was just my age now, like 10 years ago in the mid 2000s, that things would be so much better. But the thing is that I think those people were depressed then too. I'm sitting on my couch right now. I'm looking at a view of a beautiful mountain outside my living room window, and I can almost imagine, if I just sit like this, that it is 2012. Like, it is 2012 because I said so. It is not 2025. And you know what? Like, nothing really changes, actually. The way that I feel doesn't really change. If there was going to be somebody sitting around complaining in 2012, I would have been doing it. It would have been me. I would have been there. And I probably would have been just as restless as I am now. You know what? I can't even say that I really know exactly what was different then, because I was like, okay, 2012, let me reveal. I was definitely like actually 9 years old in 2012. So I feel like I grew up in that time, but I was not old enough to really understand like pop culture or anything like that. And so I don't even know what I really am like wishing I would get back to. I just am I'm super vulnerable to those videos that are like nostalgia about the 2000s, because I do remember the things that were happening then. I do remember what it was like to be a child then, but you can still go outside today. It might look a little different. There might be cyber trucks on the street, but you can still go outside today and you can still hang out with your friends today. Basically what I'm saying is that I think that it is a trap to constantly tell yourself that there was a better time, either past or like future, that there, will be a better time, and right now just sucks. I think that depending on your life circumstances, like if you are someone like me who is rather lucky and fortunate in life, it is such a waste to sit around in moments where there are real things in front of me, real physical things that I can see that are part of my life that won't be a part of my life, maybe even a year from now, and to not value them because they replaced something else in my life. For example, the house I'm in right now is not the house I grew up in. And I definitely don't have as much of a connection to it. And sometimes I hate this house. I hate coming home to it, especially when I'm coming home to it alone in times like right now, because I just sit here being like, this isn't my house. No matter what I put on the walls, no matter how much of me I put into my house, it doesn't ever feel like it's actually mine. It really just feels like I'm borrowing it, which legally I am. But if I was a child growing up in this house, that I would love it. I would love it. And if I were to move, I would miss it the same way that I miss my childhood house. It's all about the perspective. Because when you have had no other things, no other experiences, you appreciate everything because it is just the first thing. And it is like the only thing. And then when you move on through life, those things, inevitably change and get replaced or stop existing at all. It's really hard to accept that. I'm definitely a person that has a really hard time with change, because it is hard for me to feel okay and happy just on a day-to-day basis anyways. So as soon as I start to get to like a comfortable spot with where I'm at and then something changes, it completely throws me off. But how would I appreciate the view I'm looking at right now, or the couch that I'm sitting on, or the sweater that I'm wearing? How would I appreciate these things if there had not been something before them? I want to start being okay and grateful for everything that passes through my life. I want to really experience them and value them for what they are, rather than comparing them to something that I have had in the past. I have been a lifelong soldier of nostalgia and melancholy, and not a soldier in a good way, because it is a battle I should not be fighting. But I have missed out on appreciating my present. Living in the past and worrying about the future basically just sows seeds of distrust within yourself. Because obsessing over those things, let's say, for example, you're regretting a decision you made or an interaction that you had, that's teaching yourself the things that you did just in your everyday life, usually for the better, were not good enough, and that you're not capable of making the right decisions time and time again. And although it's good to recognize when you have made a bad decision and hold yourself accountable, overthinking and ruminating over things that do not require it literally just teaches yourself that you are not a trustworthy person to be in control of your own life. And worrying about the future also only solidifies that, because it teaches you that you don't think that you have the capability to make yourself happy in the long run or to make the right decisions. Looking at the life that you have around you and expressing gratitude, sometimes literally out loud, that makes you feel like, wow, I have so much beauty around me and so much to be grateful for. That must mean that I am capable of taking care of myself. This revelation that I've had is more important than ever to understand, because everything else around us wants us to focus away from our present moment. Because if we can find happiness where we are with what we have, then we are no longer consumers. We are no longer able to be manipulated. We're no longer able to be controlled. And I'm not going to go into like who has been doing that. Sometimes it's literally just your own sadness. It is your own sadness that is trying to control you, trying to manipulate you, trying to convince you that if you consume, you will feel better. And it never works. Having things wrong in your life doesn't mean that you're a failure. It means that you have been given a task to make your life better. And if you can fulfill that, if you can finish that and actively make your life better, all that you're doing is building trust. But you can only recognize that you've made your life better if you're being present in every moment, to take account of what really needs to be changed, and then to appreciate when it has been changed for the better, rather than just being dissatisfied in general because nothing is the same as it used to be, or it may be worse in the future. Something I've learned as I've been going to therapy, little sprinkle of my therapist in this video, but no amount of worrying is going to change what is going to happen in the future. And no amount of regret is going to change what happened in the past. No amount of rumination is going to affect either of those things. The only thing that negative rumination does for you is steal your joy from the present and also rip you out of the present. This will lead to you not even being able to remember your life as it goes by, which has happened to me in times of extreme sadness and depression. There are literally years of my life that I can barely remember because I was so stuck in what had already happened and distracted by what might happen that I was not living, because I believed that there was a better time for me to be alive. You can't change when you're alive or what has been happening to you outside of yourself. The only thing you can change is the way that you react and take in the world around you. It's worth it to mention that none of this is in any way like fact. This is really just what I've come to believe based on my own experiences, and I may not even believe the same things a couple years from now, but this one feels very comforting to me, and maybe it will comfort someone who is feeling the same way that I do, constantly running away from their own alone free time because they just cannot accept where they are in life. There's a lot more about your day-to-day mental state that is in your control than you think. Of course, this doesn't apply to the things that are influenced by severe mental illnesses or disorders, but I can sit here and acknowledge that I am depressed without having that spiral me into an idea that my life is just overall terrible. I can sit here and feel depressed, but know that I will be able to feel better later. And I think that that's what's most important, is that sadness and hardship has existed forever, and it will exist forever. It has never been a better time to be alive. It's just a different time, and it's your time to be alive, which is really the only thing that matters.
Hello from me the next day in my car, because I just really wasn't a fan of the way that I ended this video. I really wanted to say that if anybody resonates with what I'm talking about or just enjoys the topic, then feel free to subscribe. I totally appreciate it. If not, that's great. But I hope that we can all be better about appreciating our present moments and not letting sadness completely consume our lives, and instead just accepting it as a normal part of life. Have a great day, best day you can, and see you later.